continents, 54 countries, over 2,000 languages, but united with similar interests. As news breaks, we give you in-depth analysis around Africa every Monday on Core TV News. Very big thanks for joining us. It's Around Africa, and I am BROWNSON. UNWANA. Very big thanks for joining us. And of course, the program today, we are going to Togo. There have been lots of controversy rocking Togo presidency. Opposition party have criticized the continuous dominance of a particular family running that country for some period of time, and they've said they will not allow that to happen for the 50th year running. Of course, their independence can be traced back to 1960 when they got their independence. And of course, their president, their first president, Nasimbe Enyadema, took power in 1963. In 1965, I beg your pardon, and after then, it has been the Enyadema's family, or you want to say the Nasimbe family all the way. And of course, the Togolese people want to take it to the poll in 2015 to see if they can change that. But the big question is the people's wish, or can the people's wish stand against the Nasimbe's family? We'll be finding out on the program today. Austin Ways is joining me. Austin, good to have you on the program.
Yeah, good to have you too.
It's been a while.
Oh yes, I'm glad to be back here.
All right, very well. Yeah. Now let's look at Togo's history. They got their independence in 1960. And of course, we understand the coup that took place that brought the Nasimbe's family. I think now I'm going to be generalizing it because of the trend that's run in the past 50 years that brought the Nasimbe's family to government. And after then, it has been same family on and on. But look, stretching it from when the independence took place till now, how would you rate the performance of the same family?
Well, you know, what we lack in African leadership is effective leadership, providing good governance for the people, having visionary leadership, people that can use their imaginations to get the people out of poverty. And that has been the challenge with African leaders. Right from the time of, and I know that between that period that Togo gained independence, that 11 other African countries, talk about the Central African Republic and all that, in 1963, you know, about 11 countries, you know, get their independence from France. Basically, we had the two kinds of leadership in Africa within that period, even in Togo. You know, the leadership of liberation, which is to liberate these people, kick the colonial masters out, so that they can have take over government and then constitute their own, you know, to govern themselves, self-determination, self-governance and all that. They did that. Then, when they had gained this independence, it was as if, now that we have power, what am I going to do with it? Confusion everywhere. So you now come to the leadership of tough protection. Let me hold on to power. Everything I do is to keep me in power. So, that has been the case with these people. And after that, nobody talks about leadership for development. Nobody talks about it. So we find that we have had leadership in Africa. The problem of Africa is a crisis in leadership. And after independence, before independence, we had this leadership of liberation. All African early leaders wanted to do like Yasimbe Yadema did, was to get independence for the people of Togo, and then kick out France. But again, you can't really kick out France just like that. I mean, the earlier this, but when he came to power in 1965 or thereabouts, you know, through a coup d'etat, you know, and there was no way you can have that kind of thing without the French support from the French government. No, maybe the early leaders, independent liberation leaders, they did not do according to the French. So, when this man took over, it was with the support of the French government, and that's why they now established, institutionalized, and make sure that the army in control of the Yasimbe family. Similar thing that you have in North Korea, where the Lee family, in Pyongyang in North Korea, that the man handed over to the son. Now, but the thing is that there's a gale of change, a gale of, Togo has gone through a lot, and they have been so docile over the years. For now, for them to be beginning to desire a change is a beginning, but that change may not come now.
Why? Any reason for that?
That change, because this is about the first time when his son Faure took over. It was the military that helped. So for anybody that will govern, for there to be a change, you must have the support of the military. Without the support of the military, if the military is still pro Yasimwe family, then the people have a long wait. But what they could also do is to provide good governance, have an all-inclusive, positive politics. For a developing country like Togo, they cannot afford to play zero-sum politics, where the leader the opposition is ignored completely. No, it's dangerous.
Now,
Yeah.
okay, in the case of Libya, where Gaddafi ruled that part of the country for a very long time, Libyans, even though they went on to rebel against him, but the international community, people from the other side of the continent, could as well count some things that Gaddafi did to impact the life of his people. But can you say same in the case of Togo?
No, Gaddafi, I was schoolmates to when I was in university in Canada. Libyans came to, and I knew how they lived. I knew how they lived. They really enjoyed their oil money. And Libya had used oil money better. Ali Mazuri, the famous Ali Mazuri, and a researcher in one of these schools in the US, he says something. That Libya has used oil money better than Nigeria has. Nigeria has earned over $400 billion since the 70s to date in oil money. But Libya had earned less, but have used money, judicially used the money to build infrastructure than Nigeria. So you find that, yes, the voices, what happened in Libya was external forces. Now, maybe such external voice, because what America and some other Western nations are saying, look, democracy, democracy. Well, whose democracy are we talking about here? Is it democracy according to America? Is it democracy according to the Togolese? What the Togolese want? So that is the point. The mistake that this America and other Western nations are making is that they want to fashion democracy after that every nation must practice democracy the way the Americans practice it. Leave the Togolese. All you need to do is, if that is the kind of democracy that they want to practice, fine. Are they asking for multi-party democracy? In Togo, we should remember what happened in Kenya. When Kenyatta was president in Kenya, Jomo Kenyatta, what happened? There was one dominant political party, but they practiced positive politics. It was all inclusive. Kenyan economy grew 13 times. Then the Western nations began to pressurize when Daniel Arap Moi took over in 1978. After the death of Kenyatta. And they began to push for multi-party system. So by putting that, multi-party system was introduced. But Kenya started having problem till today as a result of that. When that happened, every ethnic group now began to say, okay, we form this party, for instance, PDP for the north, ABGA for the east, APC for the west, that kind of a thing. That was what happened in Kenya. If they are bringing that kind of system to Togo, they should be ready for a serious crisis.
Now, can we say the what Togo is practicing is it's a real democratic system of government?
No, you see, who determines what real democracy is? Does it work for Togo? That's the thing. Because one thing about this democracy we talk about is it kind of makes us to forget our heritage as Africans. The democracy we practice in Nigeria, we have not taken our heritage into consideration. In Togo, if that is the heritage is taken into consideration, then it's all goes well for them. But if not, nobody should be, force Togo to do. They should have their own blend of democracy.
Now, the people want change. The incumbent president doesn't want to give that change. Now, don't you have fear that this somehow might lead to a kind of civil war?
No, well, the thing is that it depends on who wants that, who is pushing for this change. But for as long as the military, as long as the French government, in support, it might take a while. Change will definitely come, but it might take a while before that change comes. So, yes, they are beginning to have, okay, we want change, but do they have the critical mass? Do they have the critical mass? You can't bring about any change if you don't have the critical mass. So, some kind of movement. Otherwise, a few people with arms will bring about that change. Unless there is another coup to overthrow this government and then open up the system. But there will be a crisis initially. Because people that feel that, we've been so oppressed and they have access to power, it's dangerous.
All right, absolutely, very dangerous. At this point, let's go for a very quick break. And then when we come back, we'll look at what is it in the family business that the Togolese presidency has turned into. That will be coming up after the break. Stay with us.
54 countries, over 2,000 languages, but united in similar interests. As news breaks, we give you in-depth analysis around Africa every Monday on Core TV News.
Even though most people will say presidency shouldn't be, or governance generally shouldn't be family business, but in Africa it's very, very different. Robert Mugabe has been handling this country for donkey years, and as far as Swaziland is concerned, of course they don't practice democracy, but then we can say we've seen a particular president that ruled that part of the country for a very long period of time, and of course we can as well mention Angola, where we've seen a particular president ruling that part of the continent for so many years. And then what is it about African leaders staying put to office for a longer period of time? Now, could it be so much love for the country that they feel no one else can handle that country apart from someone within the family?
Now, if it is development leadership, for instance, and you need some time to be able to do that. Now, there's nothing wrong with how long you stay in power. Now, the liberal democracy of 4 years and all that has never developed any country. For a developing country, you need a system that is sustainable. Take, for instance, Singapore. Singapore was ruled by one person for 30 years. We can see the result. Now, the man has handed over, in between, there was some other person that came in before his son took over. The son is the prime minister now. But the son is continuing, and the man is still in power. The senior Lee Kuan Yew is still in power because he's a senior minister. So he's still guiding. He said his job is not done yet. And we can see that a documentary by one of these American, I think it was CNN also, they talked about Singapore and interviewed the citizens. And they said, look, we are comfortable the way we are. American type brand of democracy is messy, that they don't want to touch it. It brings about confusion and all that. They're happy the way they are. For as long as the people are majority, a critical mass of people are happy with the system, which focuses on the people. Because with the leadership of development, it's all about the people. You develop their spirit, soul, and body, their minds, and build a beautiful infrastructure for them to improve the quality of life of the people.
But can we say that to Africa, on Africa, where we have a particular government ruling for years? Like, of course, Singapore, very good. I've seen a lot of documentaries about on Singapore, and I've seen how developed that country is. But also, in Africa, we have countries that a particular person have ruled for over 30 years, but not much changes.
Exactly. But the point is that you need leadership that is not focused on the people. Is not leadership. It's not effective. So, for Africa, unfortunately, it's all about I, me, myself, self-interest, not the people's interests. Nobody cares about the people. But instead of governance being an instrument to improve the lives of the people, governance leadership is now used, political leadership is now used as an instrument of oppression, which is unfortunate. Now, when I discuss political economy, I usually mention about the issue of the two ways of you can govern people, providing governance. One is the prophecy, which is God's purpose for man. The other one is the policy, which is the policy, the strategy to achieving God's purpose. Now, the plan of God for man is that man should prosper and be in health, even as his soul prospers. As a leader, I need to come up with a policy that will help me to achieve that end result. Make sure that the quality of life of the people, the standard of living is improved, that things are, there are functional, institutions, that building, because strong institutions drive growth, okay? That the police force is working very well so that crimes will be reduced. People are working, industries are operating, and the power everywhere to benefit the people. You come back, you turn on. Anybody that wants to own a home can afford to own a home, even no matter what you do. In Singapore, for instance, my last visit about 3 weeks ago, if you're 25 years old, you can move into your own home. You can buy your own home. You have a job. You work at 22, 21, 22, you're finished. You start work. By 25, you can begin to own your own home. And the system works. It's already programmed. So you really, naturally, you know that at 25, you move into your own apartment. If you're single, there's an apartment you can buy. If you're married, move to a bigger one, just like that.
Now, for the Togolese that have had a particular government ruling close to 50 years, now it transcends from father to son, and for like 50 years now, and the people are saying, look, same family have ruled us for 50 years, and no end result. Now, is it wrong for this guy, for the citizens to act or to ask for change?
No, it's not wrong. But for a leadership that is progressive, what they're supposed to do is to educate the people. I don't know how far every leadership is preparing. Succession plan, is not only in business, but in politics. You prepare people that will take over from you. So, the present leadership, are they preparing people that will take over from them? In Togo. In Nigeria, it's not happening. In Ivory Coast, it's not happening. In Egypt, it's not happening. No African country prepares the people to take over. And that is the challenge we have, the challenge of leadership. And the succession planning is a huge challenge for leadership. Okay? And until the mark of a good leader is ability to get a good successor that will perform better than himself. Let's take, for instance, Lagos State. Asiwaju Ahmed Tinubu is powerful today because he was able to get a good successor who is cool-headed and knows how to be, to appreciate where he's coming from, how he got to power, to respect, so show some respect. If he had done otherwise, Lagos could have been a fight between the former governor and the present. So you find what a good succession plan can do. It was by default, not that there was a system put in place to be able to, get a good successor. Now the challenge now is, now Fashola will be going the next few months. The test of his good leadership is in the person who takes over from him. For Togo, the man felt that the son was good. But again, if he serves his term and wants to leave, who he hands over to determines the future direction of that country.
Now, what do we expect to see in 2015? Because it's going to be another decisive moment for Togo.
My feeling is that the military might still want to keep the Yadima, the Faure. Okay? They might still want to keep him until they have a critical mass of opposition before change can come, and with the support of the military establishment. Otherwise, the momentum will build up to the next 5 years or 10 years before real change can come in Togo. But for now, until that critical mass, if by 2015 you have a critical mass of opposition, then all well and good, you can expect to have a change. But I doubt that. I doubt that. Unless something, some radical soldier comes in to dismantle what the senior Yanima built for over 50 years. It's not a joke. It's not a joke. A system that brings up and is their obedience to the people that is, that establishment. The Togolese military is the establishment on its own. A Yadime established by the Yadime family. So it will be difficult. It will take a long time to dismantle, to bring a new system, a power base. Okay, because the military is also a source of power, and it will take some time to dismantle that kind of power base.
All right, 2015 is just around the corner, and of course, I'm sure all Africans are watching, and analysts are listening very well, and of course, it's just going to take a matter of time for us to know if the change that the Togolese are clamoring for would come in the next elections in 2015. Around Africa, I'll be giving you updates as far as that elections is concerned. Thank you very much, Austin, for coming on the program.
Thank you very much for having me.
Yeah, all right. A very big thanks for being there. Around Africa, we'll be back again next week. My name is BROWNSON. UNWANA. Have a wonderful day.
54 countries, over 2,000 languages, but united in similar interests. As news breaks, we give you in-depth analysis around Africa every Monday on Core TV News.